All right. Welcome. We are going to talk about section 1.5 and 1.6, adding and subtracting real numbers. First thing you need to know how to do is determine whether a number is positive or negative. To make this determination, what you're going to do is look at the number and then look to the left of that number. To the left of the number will be the sign of that number. All right, so if we take a look at this, and we're going to list out which numbers are positive and which numbers are negative, I look to the left of the number to determine its sign. To the left of the 3 is a minus sign. That is a negative 3. This is a negative 5. I'm going to draw a circle around my positives and squares around my negatives. My 9 is positive. My 8, positive. So if I list them out, my positives are 9,
8, and 1.
My negatives are negative 3, negative 5, and negative 7.
Okay, adding on the number line. We can use the number line to help us add and subtract positive and negative numbers. I'm going to start with an example, and then we're going to write down what we did. I look at this first problem A. I have negative 5 minus 2. This negative 5 tells me where to start. So I'm going to start at this negative 5. This minus 2 gives me a direction. It tells me to go left in the negative direction 2 spaces. Okay. Again, the negative 5 is a start point. The next one tells me where to go. I start at negative 5, I go left 2 spaces, and where do I land? I land at negative 7. So that would be my answer, negative 7. So what did we do first? The first thing we did was we looked at whatever number comes first in the problem. We start at our first number. The second number tells us where to go. If your second number is positive, you're going to move in the positive direction. You're going to go right. If your second number is negative, you're going to go in the negative direction. You're going to go left. So let's take a look at B. I have negative 1, that's my start point, and then I'm going to go in the positive direction 4 spaces. So I start at negative 1 on the number line. I start here at negative 1. I'm going to go in the positive direction 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I land on positive 3. I'm going to let you do C. Please have C done before coming to class. Another way we can look at this is we could think of money. Negative 5, I can think of that as owing $5. I owe 1, I owe 2, 3, 4, I owe $5. And then this, negative 2, shoot, that sucks. I owe $2 more. Together, I owe $7. Let's look at B. It's a slightly different scenario. Here, this negative 1, I could think of that as owing $1. But on the good side is I have $4. And so if I owe 1 and I have 4, I've paid it back and I'm left with $3 positive $3, which is much better than being negative $7. Adding and subtracting real numbers. There's a couple generalizations we can make here. We really have two scenarios. Either we have the same signs, where both of your numbers are positive, or both of them are negative. Or your numbers have different signs, where one is positive and one is negative. Those really are the only two choices. So I'm going to put a couple examples so we can see what happens. If both of my numbers are positive, I might have something along the lines of positive 5 plus 2. I have $5, I have 2 more dollars, together I have $7. Or maybe they're both negative. I owe you $5, I owe your best friend $2, together I owe $7. In general, what did we do with a 5 and a 2 to create a 7? What's the operation? Is it addition or subtraction? Well, we can generalize and say that if they have the same signs, they're all positive or they're all negative, generally what we're going to do is we are going to add. I owe you $5, I owe somebody else $2, I add the 5 and 2, I get 7, and I have to remember that that 7 is actually supposed to be negative. That brings us to our scenario when we have different signs. Different signs, maybe I owe you $5, but I only have 2. Do I have enough money to pay you back? I don't. I'm going to be $3 short. So I can give you the 2 that I have, but I still have 3 negatives left over. And we could think of that in terms of this scenario with the minuses and the pluses. I owe you 5, I have 3. These all cancel each other out. Oh, I'm sorry, I only have 2, don't I? All right, I owe you 5, I have 2. These cancel each other out, and I'm still 3 in the hole. Or we could have the reverse of that. I have $5, but I owe you $2. I subtract the 5 and the 2 to get 3, and I have 3 positive dollars left over, as opposed to being short $3. So, same signs add, different signs. We're going to subtract. We subtract, and we always keep the sign of the larger number. So I have a negative 5, a positive 2. They're different signs. I subtract the 5 and the 2 to get a 3, and it's the sign of the larger number, which in this case is the 5. Same idea here, positive here, negative here. I subtract, but I keep the sign of the larger number. So sometimes when we're doing problems, you're going to see two numbers or two signs side by side. It might look like this, 5 plus a negative 3. Or it might look like 7 minus a negative 4. Notice I have a plus sign and a minus sign side by side. Here, I like to do something. How to change these two signs into one. So I have a plus sign and I have a minus sign. I'm going to go to my sleeping man, cover up what I have. I'm going to cover up the plus, cover up the minus, and the sign that's left over is the sign I'm going to switch it to. So if I have a plus and a minus side by side, I cover that up, the minus is left over. This is actually the same as 5 minus 3, which we all know is 2. I look at my second problem, 7 minus a negative 4. I have two minus signs side by side. That's a problem. I want to fix that. So I go to my sleeping man and I cover up the two signs that I have. I cover up my two minus signs, and I can see that there's a plus sign left over. That tells me that I need to change these to a plus. This is going to be 7 plus 4, which we all know is 11. The last thing we need to talk about today are like terms. We have like terms, and we have things that are not like terms. Like terms have the same variables to the same powers. And I want to give you some examples of what like terms would look like. 3x, 5x, and negative 1/2 x are all like terms because they all have the same variables to the same power. And we really are only looking at the variables here. This is x to the first power, x to the first power, x to the first power. Another set of like terms might be negative xy squared, 7xy squared, and 0.3 xy squared. They both have an x, well, they all have an x to the first, a y to the second. The coefficients, these numbers in front, that doesn't matter at all. We're just focusing on the variables. X, y to the second, x, y to the second, x, y to the second. These are like terms. Not like terms might be 3x, 5x squared, and negative 1/2 x to the third. Although they all have an x, the exponents are not the same. So these would not be like terms. We might even just have different variables. 5a and 5b are not like terms because my variables are different. So we're going to have a situation where we might have to combine like terms. If we combine like terms, basically what we're doing is we're adding or subtracting them. Combining like terms means to add or subtract. And when you do this, you're really only going to add or subtract the coefficients. So let's take a look at 3. 3m plus a negative 8m. We're going to put all this together here. 3m plus a negative 8m. I have a positive and a negative side by side. I have to correct that. I go to my sleeping man and I say, okay, a plus and a minus. I'm going to cover each of those up. That leaves me with a minus sign. What I'm really dealing with is 3m minus 8m. I only add or subtract the coefficients when I combine like terms. So I'm really focusing on the 3 and the negative 8. They're different signs, so I know I have to subtract. 8 minus 3 is 5, but in this case it's going to be 5m because I have this variable here. And should it be positive 5m or negative 5m? Well, we keep the sign of the bigger number, and the bigger number in this case is the 8, so this is going to be a negative 5m. How about 4? Are these like terms? Same variable, same power? No, they're not. The only thing we can do to 4 is clean this part up. I have two minus signs side by side. I go to my sleeping man, I cover them up, and that leaves me with a plus sign. So the only thing I can do here, this is 10x plus 13y. These are not like terms, so I can't add them together. This is as simple as it's going to get. Before coming to class today, just a reminder, I'd like you to do or tomorrow, I guess you're coming to class tomorrow, or today, I don't know. Do C, 5 minus 7, and then please do problems 1 and 2 as well. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you then. Bye.